Business Focus with Kudzi Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
22 minutes before the news at 8 is our time. Good morning and welcome to Business Focus, right here on the Champions League breakfast on Capi Talk. As always, we discuss what's happening in the world of business. Right now, we've got Kudzi on the line. He could have been with us in the studio, but he got delayed along the way. There's been an accident on his way to work. So, Pangeta Congestion, we caught up with him. But be that as it may, let's try to link up with him over the line and get to talk to him. Good morning to you, Kudzi. How are you? All right, we're trying to link up with Kudzi. Let's see if we've got him on the line. Hello, Kudzi. Good morning. How are you? Trying to link up with Kudzi in just a moment. We'll link up with him. But be that as it may, we are still going to be discussing a lot of what's happening in the world of business. So we're trying to link up with CZI CEO Sekai Kuvarika. As always, on a Wednesday, we bring in CEOs from different corporates to talk to us and get to address a couple of issues that we get to hear from their corporate, clients. So we want to speak to CZI CEO Sekai Kuvarika right here on Capi Talk, Business Focus. Good morning to you, Sekai. How are you today?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us on Business Focus.
Thank you for having me on Business Focus.
Great. Let's talk about day 2 of the SADC Industrialization Week. That's the investment conference day. What is it focused on, and what can delegates expect?
So the investment forum is going to be a meetup of potential investors that have an interest in Zimbabwe. It is also going to bring the investment promotion agencies from across the SADC region. And we have investors from the region and from beyond, and even from outside the continent who are coming to explore investment opportunities and to engage with potential projects in Zimbabwe. We also have our DFIs, the Development Finance Institutions, and other equity funds that are going to be in the room to meet with the investment opportunities that are in Zimbabwe and the region. So we will also have people coming from the SADC region to have a conversation and to make the necessary connections that they need to make either to kickstart investment opportunity engagements or to take some further than where they are at the moment. And there will be some investments also announced at that investment forum.
All right, when we look at day 5 of the SADC Industrialization Week, it is focused on SMEs. What is it focused on, and what can delegates then expect if they are into the SME category?
So we have also realized in the SADC region, and also it's the same situation for us in Zimbabwe. When we look at the manufacturing companies, quite a good number of them are small and medium enterprises, and quite a good number are startups that we are seeing. So this is the regional phenomena that we are seeing, and the contribution of SMEs to manufacturing and to industrialization is growing. So what we are having is we are having a presentation from one of the countries that has had a long history of internationalizing its small and medium enterprises, and this is Germany. So the Germany Association of SMEs is going to come and share the internationalization of about 3 or 4 German SMEs that went international, so that Zimbabwean and other SADC country SMEs can also learn from those lessons and see how they can be intentional about becoming international entities in spite of their size. And also we would derive some policy lessons from there, what kind of policies would support that kind of drive in the SME and startup arena, or in the entrepreneurship space in the region. And we are also going to have our own SMEs and our own entrepreneurs. We have walked the journey of entrepreneurship successfully, sharing their.
We seem to have lost. Okay, let's try to call back and get to discuss more with CZI Chief Executive Officer Sekai Kuvarika, who is explaining to us more of what we should expect as the SADC Industrialization Week comes to Zimbabwe. Obviously, we need to understand. You've got questions to do with that that you also want to find out from the CEO of CZI. Feel free to drop them up on our WhatsApp platform, which is 0719 100404, 0719 100404, as we get to discuss the SADC Industrialization Week right here on Business Focus on Capital 100.4 FM.
Business Focus with Kudzi Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
All right, feel free. We are trying to call back so we get to discuss with Sekai what is the SADC Industrialization Week is all about, what we should expect. We've just been talking about the SMEs. It'll also be their day during the course of the week on the 5th day of the SADC Industrialization Week. So let's see how it is going to pan out as the week goes. And of course, later on, we're also going to be discussing about how the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is performing, a whole lot of other issues, and of course, the trading updates that are coming through in terms of the world of business. In just a moment, let's hope we'll be able to link up with Sekai one more time so we get to understand. Obviously, day 2 of the SADC Industrialization Week, it's all about the investment conference day. So let's see if we can speak to her. Hello, Sekai.
Hello.
Okay, so apologies there. We lost you on the line, a bad connection. But be that as it may, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you were talking about day 5 that is focusing on the SMEs. What can delegates expect?
So delegates can expect to meet with entrepreneurs and SME businesses that are in the region that are coming to the Industrialization Week. They should also expect to hear from one of the countries that has been successful at having their SMEs go global, and this is Germany. They've got SMEs that have managed to scale up by going global, by internationalizing their businesses, whether they had a limited market at home for their products or whether it was because they were intentional about just being global. So we have someone from the Association of SMEs in Germany who's coming to talk to Zimbabwe and the SADC region about internationalizing SMEs, but also giving actual examples of the entities and what experiences they've had. And our hope is that this will inspire other SMEs to be intentional about being global or regional or even continental as they start to scale their businesses. It will also inform policy, as policymakers will also see probably what needs to be done to enable the internationalization of our small and medium enterprises, and also the support to entrepreneurs. But also, more importantly, there will be a lot of entrepreneurs there, so business connections will be made across the region by entrepreneurs. And we are also having some examples from Zimbabwe of our own entrepreneurs and SMEs that have gone regional or that are in more than one country at the moment. So those experiences are going to be shared. And also, financiers are going to attend that day as well, looking to connect with interesting and promising businesses.
Thank you, Sekai. So, SADC already have an industrialization strategy. How does that align with the SADC Industrialization Week?
So if you see the theme of the SADC Industrialization Week, it's really, really highlighting the importance of innovation. And it is imperative that if we are to drive an industrialization agenda in the region, innovation has really to be at the center of it. And that means that collaboration, knowledge, technology, and skills collaboration is going to be very critical across the region, so that even new industries can emerge. There may be new industries emerging from existing sectors, but maybe moving on to produce way more complex products than we were producing in those particular sectors. And so that we can create more value that way. But again, also finding ways of coming up with business models that can transcend the boundaries the boundaries that we have across the region is another. But really, I think at the core of it, innovation is what is going to take us, number one, even from the tradition of selling primary products, but processing them, adding value, and also when we are adding value to make even more complex products in the leather industry, in agro-processing, where resources abound in this region, in pharmaceutical, in cotton and clothing, in the steel industry, that is also going to be a big thing in the region. So product innovation, technological innovation, or technology transfer decisions that would drive innovation in the region are also really critical.
You spoke there about the pharmaceutical sector, the leather sector. Now we also have the Africa Continental Free Trade Area coming in. What would you say is Zimbabwe's best foot forward from a sector perspective, and what needs to be done for us to be a leading source of products and services as a country?
So for Zimbabwe, the agro-food processing is one of the leading areas because we have long years of experience in food processing and translating our agriculture products into processed foods. So we do have very good experience there, and our integration with between the manufacturing and agro-process and primary agriculture production, I think is quite commendable. So that's one area that we should really work on. The other, of course, related to agro-processing is the leather industry. The market opportunities are quite significant in the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. So we need to build our competitiveness in those areas. And the cotton to clothing, the clothing industry is another big one. And of course, the emerging steel industry, the steel requirements on the continent still needs to be met, and we stand a good chance to supply some of that demand on the continent.
Thank you. Before we let you go, Sekai, just looking at the preparations for the SADC Industrialization Week, where are we now and what has been the response like?
The response has been extremely good. We now have, I think we have, we also have exhibitions here. So I think we have over 120 companies that are going to exhibit at the SADC Industrialization Week, and some of them exhibiting their regional presence. We have companies that are in Zimbabwe, domiciled in Zimbabwe, but that are operating in different countries in the region. They are also going to be exhibiting alongside other companies, and also companies coming from the region. I think we have plus or minus 20 companies that have already registered from the SADC region that are going to be exhibiting, and the exhibitions are open to the public to come and see at the Harare International Conference Center, even if they are not attending the conference. Our investment promotion authorities across the region are also coming to showcase how they are promoting investment in their countries, but also they are coming to scout from the region people that are interested in manufacturing, setting up manufacturing entities in their countries. So far, I can say that I know Mauritius is coming with their investment authority, and they've got a delegation of private sector companies coming from ICT and other sectors. We've got a delegation coming from Botswana, and their investment promotion agency is coming. Namibia is coming with their investment promotion agency. Mozambique is coming with their investment promotion agency, and several companies that are coming from the region. So it is really an opportunity for business from the region to come and interact and connect with each other, and also connect with opportunities. It will be good to see, more than one investment promotion agency in one place without having to visit all the countries. and actually explore opportunities to invest in those countries.
Thank you, Sekai. That was Sekai Kuvarika, the CEO of the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries, CZI, who is spearheading the preparations and hosting of the SADC Industrialization Week that will take place between the 28th of July and the 2nd of August. Thank you, Sekai.
Thank you.
All right, Business Focus right here on Capi Talk 100.4 FM. Kudzi, let's look at just about 6 minutes. We just done with our CEO segment of Wednesday Business Focus. Let's look at how the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange traded third day into the week.
Yeah, the ZSE continues to be pumping Tinashe with strong gains being recorded across the board. Yesterday we were talking about some kind of a slowdown on Monday, but then Tuesday came and it seems like the bulls are not letting up. The All-Share Index up by 4.99%. The top 10 index putting on 5.22%. And then your top 15 index even doing better, 5.29% positive. The medium cap putting on 3.45%. And then just looking at the top risers and fallers, TSO amongst the top risers with a 14.99% gain. Deribot putting on 14.98%. Kafka adding 14.62%, and then ZB Financial Holdings also adding 13.03%. But in some counters, they are still struggling, and some are also being affected by a bit of profit taking. If you look at Eco Cash Holdings, which dropped by 1.39%. But the biggest loser was OK Zimbabwe, coming off by 8.16%. Star Africa easing by 7.07%. Machineland Holdings shedding 3.7%, and then GB Holdings also down by 0.4%. So you continue to see an upward trajectory on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. It seems like it's not letting up, and from what I'm hearing, it seems there's investors and cash rich, Zig rich, holders of loads of Zig are looking for a home. It's no longer that easy for you to try and buy some US dollars like what was happening in the past, because the financial intelligence unit is out in full force, and any silly mistake in terms of your transactions, they are onto your case. So investors and those who have got a Zig are looking for a home for their Zig, and I think the stock market is benefiting from that. We have seen some of the gains that have been recorded by some of these counters are gains that we never thought we could record this year. You'll be looking at a 50% gain, 20% gain, but already some counters have gained by more than 100%, and I'm talking about big caps like your deltas that have gone up by more than 100%, your Econet up by more than 85%. So these are big caps, and given that we haven't seen that much in terms of inflation, in terms of current instability, these gains are real gains. Whether that would last, I'm not sure. And coming tomorrow, the finance minister, Professor Mtulunube, is expected to present his mid-term budget statement, and obviously some changes are going to take place, especially with regards how we pay our taxes. Remember, corporates are supposed to pay their QPD taxes 50-50 between the ZIG and the US, and it was then given as an option because the law was not in line with the laws, and we are now we expect the minister to then put in place the laws, because it will now go through Parliament. When they approve the budgets, then the law will come into effect, so that corporates will pay their QPDs in ZIG, 50% in ZIG. But I think we are actually going to see also further use cases for the ZIG, which have not been there at the moment, forcing cash holders to maybe look for stocks or other things.
Because you're talking about issues to do with tax, there's a question from John who says, what are the implications of the Supreme Court ruling on the Delta tax issue on the stock exchange?
Yeah, that's a big one. The Delta had paid their taxes for transaction that they had done in US dollars, but they had paid their taxes in ZIG, and Zimra was not having that. So it went to the courts, and it seems Supreme Court, I think, and
Supreme Court, yeah.
Yes, and I think Delta lost. So I think they are due to pay something around more than $50 million US dollars. Obviously, it will be a dent on their financials, but I think they are big enough to weather the storm, and probably they'll suspend payment of dividends for a a while, so that they can take care of that big haul of about 56 million US dollars.
All right, before we look at some trading updates, there's a concerned listener who says, are you still also going to invite IPEC boss to discuss the dissolution of pension funds? I'm a pensioner and want to know how things are going to pan out regarding our pensions.
Yeah, so IPEC got in touch with us yesterday, and they promised that the Commissioner General herself will be the commissioner. She's commissioner, not general. I think Zimrandia General.
Yeah.
But the commissioner for IPEC, Dr. Grace Muradzi, will be with us next week, Thursday, if all goes well.
That will be on the 25th of July.
25th of July.
All right, so maybe you can look forward to that. We'll be discussing much about that with the commissioner. Kudzi, lastly, we've got about 2 minutes. Let's look at Econet trading update.
Yeah, that's an interesting trading update, Tinashe. Given that we are seeing a lot of use of data, for example, and we also know that Starlink is on the horizon, is likely to come. But just looking at the performance of Econet during that period, when you look at their consumption of data, up by 74%. Compared to prior comparative, so 74% growth in data. But also interesting there, one would think that growth will only come from data, but it seems like growth is coming from other voice, for example. You'd think people no longer do actual calls because they can now do your WhatsApp calls and the like. But Econet is telling us that voice usage actually went up by 46%, which is a massive. That's massive. In this environment, so that's another good thing for Econet. But again, you're actually seeing that there is a shift between in terms of contribution for voice. So data used to contribute, voice used to contribute more, about 42%, and versus data. But now it has shifted. Data is now contributing more, 42%, and whilst voice is now contributing 38%. When you compare with last year, data was contributing 33% and voice was contributing 45%, but the tables have been turned. But the good thing about those who invest in Econet is that there's still growth in voice. So even if Starlink comes, they still have an edge in terms of voice.
All right, Kudzi, thank you so much for Business Focus for today. We discuss more tomorrow, same time right here on Capital. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Tinashe.